hope that your 4th of July weekend is going along famously. And I have a bunch of stuff here for you this afternoon that are your evening by now. Peggy passes along this post on X, noting that if this rumor turns out to be true, Tesla will go crazy. The stock will just go nuts. He's suggesting it goes to 400 if this rumor turns out to be true. Now, I don't usually report rumors, and apparently, from what I can tell, this is a baseless rumor. There's not much evidence that this one's true, but I thought it was fun enough. It's 4th of July weekend, so we can have a little fun, that this would be interesting and fun enough that it would be worth reporting about. So anyway, here we go. This is from PM7123. It is rumored that the former CEO and founder, one of the founders of Uber, Travis Kalanick, will be introduced on 8/8 as the new head of the robo-taxi division. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Would that have an impact on Tesla stock? Would be wild and crazy if that rumor turns out to be true. Okay, now if you didn't watch this morning's video, I'll put a card up on that later. Larry Goldberg and I spent quite a long time going over his earnings estimate, for the second quarter coming up here on the 23rd. We compared his earnings estimates against AJ's and against Farzad's. And, it was kind of interesting. They turned out to be not all that crazy far apart, although Farzad came up with a much higher number because he had much higher margins on the auto division, surprisingly high margins on the auto division. Well, we talked about for a minute the fact that Gary Black had also put out some earnings estimates the other day as well, but his was for the annual. He didn't break it down by quarter. So as far as I know, Gary has not put out a quarterly estimate. However, I thought, what the heck, let's go ahead and take a look at what Gary is thinking in terms of the full year, and that we can do a little bit of comparing on that with regard to what the other guys were saying for the quarter. So let's go ahead and bring that screen. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so here we have it. We can see his previous years, the actual numbers. If you go down here, you can see 2024. You can see that he comes out with, in terms of deliveries, he says he believes it'll only be 1,700,000 cars. Now, this is not an increase based on the second quarter actual results. So this would mean that he's expecting, okay, we've got 4.4, we had 1.8, so that, 3.8. So that would be about 8.2. He's only expecting 8.8, therefore, for the rest of the 8. I'm sorry, did I do that right? 8, yeah, about 8.8 for the rest of the year. 880,000, in other words, 880,000 for the second half after 820 for the first half. So that seems like really, really low for me. I'm thinking that we will definitely see increases across the board, actually, in all the cars, and of course, particularly in Cybertruck. But I think we're starting to see those increases, and so I'd be shocked if we didn't at least beat last year's numbers. So that would be a pretty substantial difference coming up for the year. Then he only has a gross margin of 17.2. So the gross margin has, as he even points out, has been stabilizing. The gross margin is probably going to be impacted by lower battery costs. We're not seeing as many reductions in what Tesla is charging. But anyway, he's got a fairly low gross margin there. I think certainly Larry and Farzad and AJ were all suggesting that even the second quarter would be higher than this, and like in the range of 18 to Farzad was over 20%. So this would be a shockingly low number if it continues to be true. Now, energy is the really shocking one. On energy, he's showing gross profit of only 10.9%. All of the other three were showing gross profit in the second quarter as being 25%, and there would be no reason to suspect that their estimates going forward in the third and fourth quarter wouldn't be in the 25% range as well. Not sure why Gary thinks that the energy, I'm sorry, this is a percent of gross profit. I am so sorry. I misread that. So that is energy as a percent of gross profit would be about 10.9. So he doesn't actually give us an energy gross profit. I misunderstood that when I saw it here earlier. So then he also has an overall operating margin of 9.2 last year. He thinks that's going to drop to 8.3. Once again, that would be much lower than I think that the other three are thinking it will be. So he then ends up for the year with a $2.40, ends up with a net income of 8.4 billion, down from 10.9, and that would be per share $2.40, down from 312. So then to give if the stock was priced around where it is now, it'd be around over 100 PE. So I thought it was kind of interesting also to look forward. In 2025, he thinks it'll go back to the levels that we had in 2023. This, despite the fact that we should see dramatic increases in energy profits compared to this year. We should see very large increases in Cybertruck sales and margins. And one would think we'd begin to see some Model 2.5 activity as well. And then maybe some robotaxi and or Optimus revenue. Or if not revenue, at least on Optimus, we might see some bottom line advantages in terms of cost of goods sold. Anyway, so he's only thinking it'll get back to 2023 levels, but then he shows a big jump in 2026. Now, this is where Gary and I would agree, although I think it'd be much higher than $4.50 a share. But he is showing 2026 to be kind of the big year. And of course, I claim to be the first one. Probably over a year ago now, I started talking about 2026. I think that was February of last year. I started talking about 2026 is really the year when it all comes together. So anyway, I thought that was useful and helpful. Hopefully it was. What do you think about Gary's estimates? Do you think he's low? Do you think he's right about right? Do you think he's just conservative? What do you think about what Gary had to say here? All right, let's go ahead and go back to the rest of the story here. If I can find my notes, they get hidden by all of this activity that I just did. All right, here we go. So let's see. It appears that FSD 12.4.3 is currently going wide. I did a quick perusal of about 20 reviews of people that have already driven it, some of them 20 miles, some of them 100 miles. The consensus seemed to be this is a really, really solid version, but there are still some issues. Now, that's not a big surprise. I don't think we thought it was going to be perfect. But we're now getting very, very close to 8.8. We are just like 32 days away from 8.8. Will we get a CyberCab ready version by 8.8? Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If we're this close on 7, what is today? 7.6. If we're that close on 7.6, in 33 days, can we get the job done? Well, so I don't know. Let's see what happens. But anyway, very solid results. And apparently it's going wide. So maybe we'll all be getting it in the next few days. Let's see what happens. I've been doing a bunch of polls on X. I'm really trying to get an understanding of the investor community better. I want to understand how you are thinking, how the people on X that are in the community are thinking about Tesla as a stock, as a company, about Elon Musk, etc. So I'm asking a whole bunch of questions, things like, what are we hoping for on 8.8? What are we hoping for on the earnings call? What are we looking for in terms of Tesla long-term? Why are we invested in Tesla to begin with? Somebody just said, for the money. Anyway, we've got lots of different answers, though. I was surprised to see kind of the range. Some people said it was Elon Musk is the reason they're invested. Some say it was the mission. Some had specifics that was like their robotaxi or Optimus. Some said it was the fact that the company emphasizes the mission rather than just maximizing profits. I'm assuming that that means that they don't just want it to be a public service company, but that they recognize that if you concentrate your energy on the mission, generally speaking, the profits will follow. Anyway, let me know where you're invested. Let me know that below. That'd be really important if you could help me on this kind of analysis I'm trying to do about why the big investors, people that are very interested in the company, in Elon, why are they invested in the stock? Okay, now this is Randy Kirk, by the way. Hit like and subscribe, notify. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. I am thinking about doing something. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tease it. I have an idea for tomorrow morning I think you're going to really like. So drop by tomorrow morning and find out, but hit notify to be reminded. But of course, on Sunday night, you know what we do. So Sunday night is Monday morning, and we talk about what's coming up next week. And I can tell you right now, CPI and PPI, but there's other stuff too, like the small business numbers. And that I think is going to be one of the most important things of the week. All right. So, Patreon. Yeah, Patreon. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's do Patreon. It's time to do that. Remember, you get free books. You get free Cybertruck bottle opener. If you join at the $5 or the $10 level, you get $10 level. You can get the Cybertruck bottle opener. All right. There are a lot more headlines right now. There's a lot more articles, videos of analysts and experts who are getting nervous. It has not trickled down to the folks. Okay. This is not something that the average investor apparently is nervous about yet. The money is still coming in off the sidelines. There's less of it than there has been. That's one of the things that's making people nervous. So there's a lot less additional capital that can come into the markets, into equities. There's nervousness because of the straits, how much the equity markets are stretched, how much more people are still putting into the equities when they could just go over and get 5.5% on 10-year treasuries, 5.5%. Did I say 5? I mean 4.3% on 10 years, but they can get 5.5, 5.4, something like that on 2-month treasuries. So people are wondering what is going on. Why is all the money going into equities? And of course, there's a lot of people that are chasing NVIDIA, chasing Apple, chasing Amazon, et cetera, based on what's happened this year with those major stocks. Now, there's other stocks that are doing well also in the S&P 500. I mention it a lot, but Costco is doing very well this year. But there's a bunch of other companies that are doing very well. But by and large, you get down below that, you start looking at the Russell, you start looking at the mid caps, and certainly at the small businesses, things are not looking that great. And then, of course, there's a whole problem of people, the consumer, running out of money. A lot of punditry right now talking about the consumer running out of money. A lot of nervousness around the jobs numbers, not only because the numbers are going up in terms of the unemployment number at 4.1% now, but also because everybody thinks they're crooked. The numbers are crooked, not right, that we're being lied to about those numbers. Anyway, there does seem to be one positive in all of this, though. A lot of people think the inflation is definitely getting better and going to continue to get better. And my gut tells me that this is true also. But the high payroll increases still running 3%, 4%, 5% year over year tell me otherwise. It's like, what are these companies going to do? Got to make that payroll. The only way you're going to make that payroll and also reduce prices. Come on. Let me know in the comments below. What's about the only way that you can cut prices and still pay your employees more? Well, there's a couple of ways, actually. I mean, you could buy raw materials cheaper, you could automate more, etc. But mostly what you're going to do is cut employees. Yeah. Okay. Those who expect inflation to come down are pointing to very good deals right now in groceries, in fast food restaurants, and in durables. But on the other side of the ledger, I think we're going to see increases in actual rents, not the adjusted, what do you call it? The homeowner, comparative rent, or in other words, they call you and they ask you what you think your house will rent for. That rent, I forget what they call it exactly. But anyway, I think that's going to be up too. But actually, actual rents I think we're going to start to see that number go up, and that's going to be hurting. One other trend of note, there's a huge amount of jawboning that the Fed needs to lower rates and needs to do it in September at the very latest. Everybody's kind of given up on July. A few people are talking like July could still happen, but most people have given up on July, but most of them are saying, boy, they got to do it September. And people on the other side are saying, they think they won't do it because they don't want to look political. Yeah, anyway, but there's a lot of jawboning, a huge amount. Now, does the Fed respond to any of that? Do they pay any attention to some of these giants of the, other giant economists and pundits and well-known stars who've done very well in the markets over the years? I don't know if they pay any attention to them, but if they are, it might have an impact. Okay, yeah, so earlier today, as mentioned, I did this video with Larry. It's practically going viral on X. Okay, yes, I have started posting all of my videos on X almost at exactly the same time that I post them on YouTube. No, I don't want you to go over and watch them on X. I want you to watch them on YouTube. I don't make money on what happens on X yet. I do make money on what's happening here. So please continue to watch here. But I am posting them on X. And man, there's a lot of people watching that video with Larry from earlier today. But if you haven't seen it yet and you'd like to watch it on YouTube, I'm going to put the card right here for that video. And then tomorrow, as you know, fun videos, really kind of a fun thing I've got in mind for a morning. And then tomorrow night, we'll do the Monday morning show where we tell you what is going to happen in the week ahead, as well as cover the last 24 hours of any Tesla news that might have come out, like, I don't know, some founder of Uber joining the staff. Okay, that's all I got for you right now. It has been amazing and wonderful, as always, talking to you today.